Patrick, how about we start diving into what our clients get their hands on in California in terms of, existing businesses for the time being, because that's where the journey starts, really. People start, going to biz buy sell. Oh, I have 100K, biz buy sell. What can I buy? Oh, and then they see this amazing laundromat that's making 300 grand. And then they tell me, Aladdin, I found this laundromat. It's making so much money. It's amazing. It's not going to take any of my time. It's going to give me a visa and I'm going to make my money back in a year or two. I'm like, wow.
Biz Buy Sell is a good resource. We have no affiliation, by the way. Biz Buy Sell, and then there's also Biz Ben that is based in California, really focused more in California. So two companies to look out for. And I just wanted to go through options for sale for current franchises up to 250K that are doing $0 to $2 million plus in cash flow per year. And keep in mind, there's some great opportunities like Jersey Mike's, but if we cross-reference that with our database at Vetted Biz, our sister company, they don't work with E2 visa holders. So it's a great franchise. It was sold for $2 billion, the whole franchise system. It was owned by just one family for nearly 50 years. But they don't accept E2 visa holders. So there are a lot of these options that they want someone that's already living in the US, living in that community, maybe already has restaurant experience to even be approved to buy that business. Boba tea, time will tell still if that's a fad. The good thing with California is it's 27% foreign born. A lot of those immigrants are coming from Asia, where there is a strong culture around tea. 110K and you get a business that cash flows 132,000. Something seems a little off. Or say 220 is asking price and it cash flows 132. It'd be important to know like how many hours the owner's working. Is it 20 hours a week? Is it 50 hours a week? Because if it's 20 hours a week, that does sound like a pretty good deal to me. Kiosk sushi franchise asking 68,000 at cash flows 120. That seems a little off. Like why are they selling it? It's a pretty good deal. 7-Eleven for sale. They don't work with E2 visa holders, unfortunately. Fitness, there's not many fitness franchises that I like. And we've had clients in the past invest in fitness and it's been a mixed bag. There's some ones, like one that does high intensity interval training. It's probably F45. That they've had a lot of issues. I think they're on the brink of bankruptcy. Their stock went down, I think 95%. They had to delist, and it's a very lengthy payback period. And they're closing a lot of units in the U.S. So they're still opening a lot, but they've been getting hit hard. So I'd assume that's F45, but it could be a different brand. Cleaning franchises, it's a good business to look at in California. Auto, I'd be a little worried because they're going electric in California. So that's going to be a lot. I think it's 10 years from now that basically all new cars need to be electric. So auto service franchise, like unless the franchisor has a really clear strategy to adapt, I'd be a little worried about that. And then you have edible arrangements, 180K asking, cash flow is 76,000. This franchise is just tanking. I mean, they're closing a lot of locations throughout the United States and their revenue keeps dropping. They haven't had a net positive growth year for, 6 years? No one's opening new locations. Maybe the people opening new locations like are contractually obliged because they purchased multiple territories. I don't know. But if you're going to invest in edible arrangements, talk to the really vet it with existing franchisees because it's a franchise system that keeps closing more locations than they're opening. So, those Quiznos, that's a franchise. I like it from a consumer perspective. I always loved going to Quiznos as a kid, but they went from 4,000 locations to less than 200 now. So they had, you can just see closure. They had 16 new openings in 2023. I wish them all the best because, again, I do like the brand. I like the subs that they come out with. Creamistry, I think they're based in Irvine, and they have some locations that do quite well and others that are so. Denny's, I don't think works with E2 visa holders. So that option wouldn't be
So asking
available.
price is 100K and the revenue is 1.3 million dollars.
I think they got hit really hard with just minimum wages going up, and Denny's, it's not the most profitable business. I'm not like so pumped about these businesses. I don't know if it's just me or I mean,
why do
you
you
were
have
talking,
to
I just
poop on
scroll
these
down and
businesses, man? What's
I see
wrong?
this
What's the
business for
problem?
sale,
It's a
150.
beautiful kickboxing center.
It does 50K,
150.
but then I put in 9 rounds on unvetted biz to cross-reference it, and it's a flop. Look at how red that is. They're closing 94 locations, 80 locations, 66 locations.
You're
They
a
don't make
little
much
dream
money.
killer, aren't you, Patrick? You're a dream killer. It was a beautiful offer that I saw there, and I was trying to convince my wife, hey, I found this business, 150K. Cash flow is 200K. We can make a lot of money.
Franchisor makes money. The franchisor's EBITDA is like $1 million plus. It's going down. It was 4 million in 2020. So someone's making money. I just don't know how much the franchisees are making with a 47% failure rate. That's pretty steep. But yeah, a lot of these, I mean, 250K for an existing business doesn't get you much in California. It's a lot of the best brands are going to be sold to existing franchisees, inside deals. So what gets listed on a website like BizBen or BizBuySell is generally going to be
Garbage
pretty
in,
picked
garbage
over.
out.
Yeah, and like 250, I think gives you more in Texas. We did a similar video. People can tune in. We'll share the link for Texas. That gets you more for an existing business, but in California, 250 doesn't get much. So unless you want to invest 300 to 500K plus, I would focus on a new business, a new service business in the state of California.
For the E2 visa, Patrick, do you recommend any specific industry to invest? David Sean.
Service based, but I would also look at your background. Like, what have you been doing for the last 5 to 30 plus years? If you've been providing a service, I want to go out and start selling a product. Have you been managing many people? If you've been managing a lot of people and you're, if it's blue collar, more, waiters, for example, you can look at a restaurant hospitality. If it's more white collar, maybe you open up a small bookkeeping practice. So, senior care, I mentioned in the video, I think is a hot industry. And we just had an approval for a client in Canada this morning for senior care franchise Assisting Hands. They have 190 locations, about 176,000 to open up. And then you have also home watch caregivers. We have had numerous clients invest in that brand as well. A little more locations. For most brands in the senior care space, they're California franchisees. At least for the franchise brands that we work with, like home watch caregivers are doing quite well financially. So you can see how many franchisees are doing less than $1 million, between 1 to 2 million, greater than 2 million, all mature locations. So average gross revenue at 2.1 mil, which is pretty high. I prefer median though, 1.3, because you could have a few people that really build that up. That's franchisees have been operating over 3 years. So California, US, it's not a get rich quick environment. It's going to take some time, and you got to think in 5 years, 10 years, not in 6 months, 6 months, 12 months. Focus on just breaking even, so you don't blow through more working capital than you already allotted out for your E2 visa. But you can make a lot of money in California, like many states in the US, but it's going to take some time to get there. So those are 2 franchise options, as well as, the ethos in California is more environmental friendly. And we've had clients invest in Fiber New, which is basically refurbishing different fabrics. Could be on vehicles, planes, boats, all different types of fabrics. So that is another one to think about. They've been around for 40 plus years, 200 plus locations. And that would be a one to consider for California. Another one on the environmental friendly side is Accelerate Waste Solutions, where they do a lot of recycling as well for their programs. And so they do junk removal, but they have a few different offerings built in. They haven't been around as much time, but really fantastic two founders that are still very involved in the day-to-day operations of the franchise brand with 32 locations throughout the United States. So those are a couple actual franchise options to noodle over, as well as some industries to consider. And if you're interested in speaking to one of those franchise options, feel free to send us an email or send me personally an email, patrick@visafranchise.com, and we can set you up. These are available, as I last checked, in California, depending on the city that you'd like to move.
Thank you so much for that, Patrick.